Welcome to Biohacking for the Executive Athlete, where high performance meets deep recovery and ambition is powered by coherence. I'm your host, Nicole Ward, Senior Vice President of Sales at Aon, board-certified health and nutrition coach, wellness geek, biohacker, and founder of the Sales Athlete platform. Each week, I get to sit down with industry leaders, elite performers, and trailblazing biohackers to uncover the science, strategies, and daily practices that fuel sustained success at the top. It's not just about pushing harder, it's about recovering smarter, thinking sharper, and performing better. Our energy is our edge, and this is your playbook for high performance from the inside out. Today, our guest is the definition of high performance, both on the court and in the corporate world. Olga Gvozdenovic is the VP of Sales for High Growth at SAP, and a tech leader who brings championship-level discipline to fast-scaling sales teams. But before leading in the corporate world, she dominated on the court as a dual sport Division I athlete at Duke University, competing in both basketball and tennis. Her resume includes 3 ACC basketball tournament championships, a Sweet 16 run, an Elite 8 finish in tennis, and McDonald's and Gatorade All-American honors, just to name a few. Olga is also the founder of OMG Basketball Academy, where she's redefining what it means to empower the next generation of female athletes. Her mission is not just to develop skills, but impact confidence, character, and leadership, both on and off the court. From NCAA championships to global tech leadership, Olga is proof that the athlete mindset doesn't fade, it evolves. And today, she's here to share how it fuels her executive leadership, her resilience, and the legacy that she's building. Olga, it's just, your background's incredible, and I'm so incredibly grateful to have you here. Thanks for being part of the conversation today.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate it. It's a great opportunity. It's great to hear you summarize my journey as an athlete, and it's been so impactful in my life. It's really helped me define who I am as a leader. It's taught me how to focus, how to work with teams, how to handle pressure. But honestly, it wasn't about like the wins and the titles. It was really about the process that really has taught me a lot. The discipline, working with teams, and meeting the people along the way. And so that's really, I think, what has drove my leadership style in my career and what I really try to do at OMG Basketball Academy. So thanks. I look forward to today.
Absolutely. I love it. So rewinding the clock just a little bit, what first drew you to competitive sports like tennis and basketball, and how did that athletic identity begin to develop for you?
So I love that question. So, I love being competitive, right? I think being an athlete draws you to testing limits. And so my biggest thing when I started playing tennis at a really young age, it was really about like, what can I teach myself quickly to see success? And that's the best thing about sports, is that you literally can see the effort that you put into it and then the result that you get out of it. If I need to practice a forehand, I'm going to go practice it like 20 times and I'm going to hit it and it's going to either go in or it's going to go out. If I'm going to practice a layup, it's going to go off the backboard and in, or I'm going to miss it. And so like the more practice you put in, the more it was. And that was kind of what drew me to the competitive part of it. And that's what I think just kept me going through all of it. It just wasn't anything, there wasn't like any big monumental event. It was just that energy that you feel when you like make your first shot, or you hit that crushing forehand cross court for a winner. That was me.
It's really so rewarding, right?
Totally rewarding.
The juice from that. I love that. And was there a defining moment from all of your sort of athletic years that shaped your sort of grit and mindset that you have today? Because clearly you've got a lot of grit, to have done what you've done and be where be where you are.
I think grit is taught. It's a taught thing. I think, some people say you're born with it. I think maybe you get a little like small portion of that grit, but I think the biggest thing is that you got to learn it over time, and then you really fine tune it. And so in any type of sport, you have to have that, because you're going to fail, and you have to be able to chase that failure. And that's what I talk with my teams about all the time, is that if you don't chase failure, you're never going to be able to actually see that success, because you're going to, mentally and physically kind of block yourself from there. So the grit that I found is that, one, you don't want to lose, right? So you got to figure out how to get over any obstacle you're going to get and be in front of. But I think you also just have to be able to know that like you're going to be able to trust that other person, that you're either, if you're playing doubles with somebody at tennis or you're playing with a team at basketball, like you have that trust that like you guys are going to grind it out together, because it takes more than one person. And so, it's a learning, it's totally a learned thing for me, I think.
That's great. And when you think about your background as an athlete and how that's influenced or sort of shaped you as an executive leader today, whether that's your philosophy, whether that's, kind of your guiding principles or, goalposts, that guide you for making decisions. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So I think as long as I have like 3 core principles, I want people to be able to lead, I want them to be able to learn, and I want them to be able to listen. And I think when those 3 sound principles come across in any type of environment, sports, business, whatever that is, you're going to have the opportunity to like learn about the situation, learn about the person that's opposite you, and you're going to be willing to like take a risk, right? I mean, leading is a risk. So, and as long as you focus on those 3 areas, I think that's super helpful in terms of building teams that are going to follow, right? I think because it's a team dynamic, and you got to lead with more than one person, right? I mean, some people say that team is an individual sport. Of course, like you're on the court by yourself a lot of the time, but you have a team of people around you that are coaching you, training you, working on your mental toughness. Like there's so many areas where if you don't bring all those people together to kind of form that one mission of listening, learning, and leading, like it's hard to get everybody kind of in the same direction. So
yeah,
I definitely try and focus on those 3 principles.
Well, I love those 3 principles because it really is a we, it's not an I,
exactly.
To your earlier point. And where did those 3 L's come from? Because I love that. Lead, listen, learn. Right?
It's crazy. I've had a bunch of mentors that I've always thought out early on, like in my career. Like I had some great advice from some amazing leaders, and they had talked about listening, learning, and leading. And that's really just stuck. And somehow it brought into the bigger picture of that I really need to think about, like, if you keep shit simple, like, totally. It's pretty easy to then, not make things overcomplicated. And so if I think about those 3 buckets all the time, you're going to be able to
absolutely
move the ball up the court.
You've navigated some significant career shifts over your career path and your trajectory, from enterprise sales to high growth, executive leadership now with SAP. Are there qualities from your athletic training that have really helped you manage through the transitions of that career path? Yeah,
in order to manage through the transitions, I really focused on process, right? I think the process of getting from a start to a finish is super important because I dealt with an injury like early on in my career. So I was McDonald's All-American coming out of high school. I had my choice of places where I wanted to go and play basketball on a full scholarship. I tore my ACL in the McDonald's All-American game, which, at that point you think you're invincible, right? You're like, how does this happen? And it was kind of that moment of like, oh shit, what are you going to do? And I think that's probably talked a little bit about grit. Like that's where some of that came into, because now you're coming in, we were coming in as a number 1 class ranked in Division I basketball with, I think there were 7 of us. Yeah, there were 7 other. They were all All-Americans. And so you're like, okay, I'm the injured one that has to come and figure out how to play better and get up. So I think that helped me define who I was coming into business, because I feel like if that's the worst thing that could possibly happen to me to start my college career, that like, okay, anything else in business is probably going to be easy, because I figured out how to manage an injury that had a really long rehab period, and then still come back and be able to play, and still be able to have that, college experience, and then be able to translate that into business. I think, it's like there's that book that says like, don't sweat the small stuff, right? Like, okay, so my flight's delayed today and I'm gonna miss a meeting. Like, okay, how can I pivot to figure out how to get there and make it on time and still, run a meeting?
But I think it's a wonderful point that really illustrates your ability to pivot, right? To be agile, to respond to the situation, right? Even when it's really difficult. And it puts things in a context, right? Like you say, if I can survive this, corporate world's nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, I was going to ask you a little bit about just unexpected hurdles, things that came up when you transitioned into corporate that you didn't anticipate. Were there, because there's what you anticipated, what what you know you don't know, and then there's all this stuff here that's a blind spot that you don't even know. So as you moved into like global sales leadership, were there unexpected things that you were like, oh, that's a thing I didn't anticipate?
Absolutely. I think the biggest like aha moment that I had was sports is so instant gratification. I shoot a shot, I make it. I go up for a layup, I make it. I hit my forehand across the court, it goes in or it goes out, right? Like something happens. So I know, I understand where I am in that. In global business, it's the reality. Like the time is so much slower. So like I can put this entire strategy together for a team, and instead of it happening right then and there, it is like, oh, we're gonna have to wait a couple of weeks while we all determine the domino effect and the impact that's gonna have. And to me, I really had to learn patience because my sense of urgency is very high, and it's always been innately there. Like if I have a task that I have to do, I got to figure out how to get from point A to point B quickly and make that decision eloquently and figure out all the, other things that could go wrong in my head. So I try to stay 3 or 4 steps ahead of like what's actually happening. And so in working in a corporation as large as SAP, it literally takes so much time to get a response back that I'm just like, can we push this forward a little bit better? Like I got other stuff I have a vision for that you want to do. And then you just want to keep moving. So it's really taught me patience. That's a hard thing. Like patience is so hard for me.
And same. I'm with you on that. And you're right. It's a wonderful teacher, corporate America. Whether it's the length of a sales cycle, whether it's, the ROI on a strategic roadmap that you've invested a ton of time in, or massive project that that comes to fruition a year and a half later, for sure. It can really really test us.
And then also wanting to have just the overall control of the process too. I mean, that's the thing that I really talk to the teams about is how can you control the sales cycle, for example, as much as you possibly can, knowing that there's going to be 8 different decision makers in this process. What are you going to do to try to control that? What are you going to try to do to control the next step of that process so that they get to a point where they're going to put ink to paper? It's the same thing with my teams at OMG Basketball Academy. These girls are 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade girls. And, they're thinking about just the now. They're thinking like, oh, like, I'm going to go to the school dance and then I'm going to go do basketball practice. And then you're just like, there's more than just that. So if you put the extra time in about, working on 10 layups on your left-hand layup if you're a right-handed player, like if you put the work in now to do that and you control the controllables as much as possible, you'll get to that end result that you want, which is either make a team or get a signed contract. You'll have that ability to bridge that more quickly, I feel like. And so that's what I'm constantly preaching to teams in either sports or
in sports or your or OMG. Got it. How would you, shifting a little bit to sort of like health and resilience, because this show is about biohacking to a large degree, are there routines or disciplines from your past as an athlete that you've sort of maintained or that you use in terms of best practices on the regular?
I mean, routines are non-negotiable. They are part of the equation no matter what. My morning routine is super important. Our world right now is so tech heavy, right? Like your iPhone, your earbuds, your computer, your, like
wearable devices, all the things.
I have not gotten into the iWatches yet, iPhone watches. But I think I like the sound of the click
Fair.
on the watch. Yeah.
That's great.
But I think, my morning routine is my place where I really set up my day for success. Before I even look at my phone, I literally drum my blinds open, look at the sun, feel the day. And then I really just kind of set myself into my game plan of what I'm going to do. It's kind of like prepping for game day, right? Like I had teammates that would wear the same underwear or the same socks or eat the same food, right? I'm not that disciplined in terms of it. But I do, I do get up in the morning before I look at my phone, before I look at my email, before I look at anything. I just open my blinds, look at the sun, tell myself that I'm grateful for the day and you're going to go kick ass. And then whatever comes along, right? I know that I've trained myself to manage it enough that I can, like you said, pivot if something goes awry. I also, non-negotiable, have to find the gym. And I find the gym at any hour of the day because the gym is my place where it's my reset. The gym is a place where I don't even bring my phone. I don't even listen to music at all, with earbuds and stuff. I literally just get in, get the workout in. It's anywhere, even if it's just a 30-minute workout just to feel that sweat. Or, I can be in the gym. I am a gym rat. I literally could live at the gym if I could and make my entire career on that, I would. But it's part of that routine. Ideally, it's in the morning because I feel like a lot of the times the day will get away from me and then I have to kind of make that time. But there's times in the middle of the day, stuff isn't going as planned and you just kind of got to break away and then go to the gym and reset, hit some weights, do some boxing classes, whatever it is, right? Right. My trainer would not like that I'm doing boxing, but sometimes I do. But I think, at the end of the day, it's a non-negotiable. And I think the routines are so important to feel stability in your day because there's going to be all these uncontrollables that come into your time. Right. And I value my time, so valuable.
Absolutely.
And it's a balance, right? My husband and I even make time for that in the morning with them because, we both are working professionals. And so I travel a ton. He's more regional. But at the end of the day, if I and him don't make that time, it's even hard to connect. Right. And then you kind of have to step back and realize okay, we're working for what? It's live, love, and laugh, I think is
it your 3 L's?
Is my 3 L's, my other 3 L's. Yeah. But that's the
L's
thing.
for you.
I love the L's for me. But I think that's, it's important. You gotta make sure that you find the time.
Totally. I love all that. And I guess I would ask you when it comes to, obviously you work in a very competitive tech environment, right? And in leading like you do as an executive, how do you balance that need for top performance with all the things related to your health while you're under all that pressure?
Yeah. I talk to the team about this all the time and my staff of female coaches because we all do double jobs, right? So all of my coaching staff at OMG has another job.
Day job,
right?
Yeah.
And they do this because it's part of that passion project. I think I talk to them all the time and my team about finding that balance. Family comes first and yourself, your health comes first because you can't get those two things as redos. There's always going to be other jobs. There's always going to be other deals that you're going to be able to find. And I think we try to put that into perspective, right? I'd really try to simplify it. It's I'm teaching a second grade basketball of how to make a layup. And there's this one girl that I was coaching last fall and you could just see the frustration on her face. The first layup she takes, she misses and you could just see the anger building up and you're just all right, girl, I like the competitiveness, that fire inside you, but it's not the end of the world because how many other times are you going to be able to shoot that shot again? And not everybody makes every single shot. And so that's really as simple as it sounds, it's teaching a young girl a layup and teaching them that there's going to be more than one shot to do that is really like, it sounds so simple, but it's taking that same principle to adults and sharing it that like, yeah, there's going to be more than one deal. Yeah, there's going to be deals that are bigger than other deals, but like find the balance. So like if you're up working, gosh, like until 10, 11 o'clock at night because you got to move the needle forward on a deal, then make sure that you find that time either the next day or the following day to go and like give yourself that grace to like go find that gym, you know, in the middle of the day, or go find time to go see your kids play, or go, you know, there's a balance of not feeling that you are drawn to like, I have to be in front of my computer every single day.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's always this place that you can move deals forward outside of just being on front of your computer. And I think generationally, that's what I'm seeing with like our younger generation, is that they want to do everything in front of the computer. They want to do everything through LinkedIn messaging and through emailing. And like, you just got to be human. Like you got to go out and just find a way to travel and like go and meet people in person, like a prospect or customer that you haven't seen in a while. Like give yourself grace. And I had the best advice. You know, I talked about mentors growing up. One of my mentors when I was working in my 20s has suggested, hey, you know, you're going to have to travel internationally for this job. You've probably never been to India or somewhere in China. Why don't you take a couple of days on the front or the end and just go explore? Like the company's paying for the ticket. Like you're going to have to probably fly a 14-hour flight back anyway, so you're going to miss a day. Like, you know, if your meeting's on Wednesday and Thursday, you can take Friday and Saturday and fly back on Sunday, right? Like go explore, like find that balance. And that's really what I try to really build a culture that talks about, it's not just the hardcore work, it's about the full picture of it and more than just doing that.
I couldn't agree with you more. And this is a shameless plug, and I don't mean it to be, but the book that I have coming out in 2026 it's called Biohacking for the Sales Athlete, Optimizing Our Health to Transform Our Results. And I couldn't agree with you more, because when we take care of recovery and sleep and diet and you know fitness, we become better partners, better colleagues, better parents, and our results transform because we do take a more holistic approach. It's not about grinding. It's not about crushing it all the time, right? There is that, like you say, to use your word, that balance of knowing when, and that nourishes us in ways that give us the edge when we are at the big meeting, when we are in front of, you know, whatever, you know, prospect is really, really big for us at the time. We're going to be better and more grounded and healthier and more nourished all in when we've dedicated that time and balanced. So
I can't wait to read this book. So I better get a signed copy.
Yeah. Aw, you're sweet. But I'll have you do the forward.
Thank you. I'd love it. But recovery, it's non-negotiable. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
Right? Like
totally.
It has to be part of the process, because if you're running on E, you are either going to substitute it somehow that you're going to find a crash, or you are literally going to I think everybody calls it burnout. I hate that word.
I was just going to ask you, have you ever burnt out?
I don't think I've ever burnt out, because I think because of that injury that I had, it forced myself to recover. And that's where I think I had that realization at a young age of like, okay, you are not invincible and you're human, even though I like to think I'm sometimes superhuman. You have to find the time to recover your body. And as I've gotten older, especially because I've had some, you know, athletic injuries, a couple surgeries, like I've had 2 knee surgeries. I have a torn hip labrum. I have a shoulder labrum surgery. I have a great team of doctors. They're amazing. Go Midwest Orthopedics.
You paid for their retirements.
Yes, exactly. But I think, you know, you go through those phases of, you realize that you got one body, you got one mind, you got one heart, right? And you got to make the most out of it, but you got to make sure that you respect it. And when you don't respect that recovery period, that's where injuries start to happen. That's where mental fatigue starts to happen. That's where this burnout starts to happen. And I think I was lucky because if I didn't have that injury, like if I look back at it, that injury really helped me drive the recovery practice because I was just going to go full throttle. Like even in my day to day, I go full throttle, right? Like I'm corporate in one moment and then I'm, leading the next generation and teaching girls how to watch women lead at OMG Basketball Academy. It's like you feel like you're on nonstop. But there's times like I just feel like, okay, like I forced myself. I was like, okay, we're going to take a holiday and we're going to not think about anything. And we're going to like go back to telling like bad dad jokes and, hanging out and just listening to the ocean.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So
I love that range. It's so important. I'd love to know the way you used to see when you were an athlete, health and wellness versus how you see it now. Has that evolved at all or is it?
Absolutely. I feel like I wish some of the stuff I knew now, I knew then, right? Everybody always hears that. But we did so much type of pounding training growing up that it was like clings and, it was like a lot of heavy lifting or a lot of quick bursting. And now I'm like, gosh, I don't think we ever really needed to do all of that. I think my overall practice right now is, from a physical standpoint, is maintaining a healthy heart rate during the workout. And also, I think, driving practices that will reduce injury as much as possible.
Yeah.
I think growing up, and we would practice, like I remember like during the summers, I would move to Florida for the summer vacation before school started. And I would get up at 6, played tennis from 7 till about noon, take a lunch break, probably get in like a little nap. And then I would go practice again for the rest of the day and then, run stairs to finish the day. And you're just like,
you're not
God,
kidding.
So much pounding.
Yeah.
And now I realize I'm like, oh, now I understand my knees. And then just hardwood floor with basketball, right? And our preseason conditioned workouts that we would do and postseason stuff, you're just like, it was a lot of running, a lot of sprinting.
And more
a lot
isn't
of jumping,
always better, right?
And that's not always better, right? And it was a lot of forward, backward, and lateral movement. And so I think that there's other ways to train the body now. I think that also diet, too, has changed for me. I remember, our meals that we would do for basketball were filled with carbs and pasta. Like I love pasta. Like if I could eat it every day. Who doesn't
love pasta?
I love it. But
I wish I got to eat pasta.
Yeah,
but no.
I don't really eat pasta anymore. And I think it probably produced more inflammation in my body than I needed it right now, And I think that right now I'm battling that because I really feel for longevity purposes of myself overall, if I can somehow find a way to reduce my inflammation, I will live a long, healthy lifestyle. And so
will we all, right?
Yes,
that is the key.
That is the key. And so it's like the diet, I think, has changed a little bit, not a little bit, but a lot for me.
Yeah.
So that I wish I knew more back then too.
Yeah, like you say, we all are sort of like, if I'd only known then what I know now. But
exactly. And my metabolism was way different then, right, than it is now. So I think like if I can figure out how to sustain a healthy metabolic like rate, and reduce my inflammation,
it's a win.
I got 2 out of the 3 things I really want to do.
Absolutely.
Pretty good there, yeah.
Love it. And when you think about your routines as it relates to like supplements, any wearable technology, which I think you said that you don't wear.
I haven't done that yet. Yeah.
Are there any sort of like biohacks or things that you do to augment to make sure that you stay in top shape? Or
absolutely.
Yeah.
My husband will laugh because I have like a whole closet full of just supplementation.
Same.
I feel good about it. I mean, it's an expensive habit.
It is an expensive habit.
I don't buy a lot of shoes. I don't buy a lot of clothes, but I buy a lot of supplements.
Same. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's great. But I mean, I think it works. So, I'm not a doctor, right? But I mean, for me personally, I think the thing that I've really focused on is understanding my blood work. So I get my blood drawn like once a year, but I do full panel stuff. And I really try to understand kind of where my hormones are, where my inflammation rates are, and, just general overall health practice. I've supplemented on a handful of things, like my DHEA is low. And there's a study out there that says that like women who participated in pounding sports, like their DHE levels like drop substantially. So to me, I'm like, oh, well, that kind of logically makes sense. So, I'll supplement some DHEA, and I do like the standard. Like I think like fish oil is super important for me. Vitamin B12, 6.
All the B's.
All the B's. The B's are better than the A's. I take C, like if I'm traveling a ton, especially in winter. Vitamin D is really big for me. I think as I age, I'll probably have to kind of look at some more hormonal stuff. Haven't gotten to that completely yet.
Sure.
But yeah, there's supplements all day long. I mean,
yeah,
that's part of my morning routine.
Any cognitive like nootropics? Do you take, like mushroom powders or anything?
No mushroom powders, but I have started to do some research on the methylene blue. So I have tried it, like, you put it like on the counter of your
the
tongue.
Troches. Yeah,
the Troches,
God, it's the worst. You're like a Smurf for like 2 days.
Yes.
Brutal.
But I feel like my workouts feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
My mental alertness feels a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It was like used for dye in jeans.
Yeah.
Is what I like had learned about. So, I mean, I don't have a ton of community that I have yet that I think is trying it. So I'm doing a lot of research through podcasting and just, talking to people like yourself about it.
Well, I take it fully, give it a thumbs up. For
2 thumbs up on that. So, I mean, I've tried it a couple times. I think it's helpful. I mean, I'm not doing it every day so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But good to experiment. Absolutely. I love it. Well, pivoting a little bit to sort of mindset and like when you think about your upcoming, hills to climb, right? And how you continue to challenge yourself. What does that look like personally and professionally? How do you keep challenging yourself and figure out what your next hills are to climb?
As a kid growing up, it was always about what first place trophy did you get? And so for me, I was always like, okay, like I won this tournament. We won this basketball game, like it was like, okay, what are you winning? What are you winning? What's the end result?
Right.
And then I think I got to college and I realized like, oh my gosh, like there's more to just winning. There is small victories that you have to take. And I think, as a result of my ACL tear that I did in the McDonald's All-American game, I realized that I had to work and focus on small wins. And so for me, I'm a goal setter. Like at the start of the year, I opened my piece of paper up and the goals I wrote down the year before and, which ones I check off and which ones I kind of got part of but didn't get all of them. And then I set my new ones for the coming year. I think that the coolest thing that I've seen is as I have grown into my career and, post-competitive sports, the small things that I do equal bigger things. And so I'm building a culture with my team really focused on what are the small victories that we're doing every single week, because we're going through a lot of change management right now at our organization. And, you get all this other noise that's floating around and you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to take care of this report and I got to take care. It feels
out of control,
It feels
right?
endless, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to celebrate like, hey, we reduced churn in an account by $1.5 million because we restructured and we, kind of scaled up their usage a little bit to help support them for future growth. That's a win, right? It may not be direct revenue from a net new standpoint from our space, but it's something that we're protecting the base. And I think like if we focus all the time on the small wins, those small wins then give you a little bit of confidence, a little bit of that athletic swagger, when you see everybody walking around with. And then that way you can celebrate them, you know, and then that way the championship or like that signed contract, that feels like, you know, the Super Bowl, because you're like, that's what I've been working on, you know?
Totally.
And that's the part that I think is super cool. And so that's what I really focus on for myself individually, and then also for my teams too.
I love that. The small wins, almost, you know, controlling the controllables, right? And I think that's great. That's great leadership.
And I think like even with OMG Basketball Academy, we are not a win-at-all-cost program. So we really focus on teaching the girls how to play basketball the right way. And in the first couple tournaments that we play in the season, we get smoked because we're trying to teach 4th, 5th, 6th graders motion offense, which is, if anybody that's out there has ever tried to do that, it's difficult. Like, it takes time. So it takes towards the end of the season for them to start really grooving. So in the first couple tournaments, like, our coaching staff really focuses on like, hey, we ran through three sets of that motion, and we'll celebrate that.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it's the Super Bowl to them, right? Because they're like, oh my God, we're doing it, right? And then once they actually score a layup off of it, then it's like, you could have felt it was their first basket ever.
Right.
So, you know, it gets the energy flowing, which I love.
Yeah, I love that. What in terms of self-awareness do you practice, or how do you maintain sort of self-awareness when you're in a really high pressure situation, right? And what, if anything, did athleticism and being such a great athlete lend itself to helping with that?
Self-awareness is such a easy but hard thing, I think, for me, because I have this phrase that everybody poops. Like, it's just, everybody's a human, right?
Totally.
And so some people are going to have good days, some people are going to have bad days. And like, I literally think about that every time that I'm talking to somebody, because you don't know what that person's up to that day, you know? And I think like getting back to the basics in a conversation and like grounding yourself with that person, I think sets the stage for whatever you got to deal. If it's a negotiation, if it's a match you got to play, if it's a game you got to play, if it's a practice you got to get through, if it's a presentation you need to prepare for, like you kind of just got to go in doing the level check of like, where are you today and how are you feeling? And then how can we try to make this best for both of us? Because everybody's got different stuff going on, and I think you just got to respect that and understand that not everybody's going to be 100% all the time. Totally. And the people that are 100%, you got to lift up, because, you know, we can't be 100% all the time. Yeah.
Giving ourselves that grace, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Grace is important.
So pivoting a little bit to legacy and mentorship and empowerment, because as we've talked about, OMG and what you're doing with that is just incredible. So I'd love to know, you know, starting bigger picture, what kind of a legacy do you hope to lead? You know, whether as a former athlete, as an executive, have you thought about? And I know you have a lot of runway left, by the way, like, you know. But in terms of like the future that you're living into, have you thought about that at all?
Legacy is such an interesting thing, because I think I've defined it differently at different stages of my life. And I think, you know, a little bit we talked about just a transition from an athlete to business, right? I think my legacy that I wanted to leave as a athlete was like the best, right? Like, get your jersey retired, play in the Olympic gold medal. Like, I did not get to do Olympic Games or any of that, right? So to me, it was a lot in my head like, oh, I failed, right? Because you didn't hit that goal. Like, I didn't get that legacy because you put all that training hours in and stuff. I think as I got older and I transitioned into business, you started realizing like, oh, wow, you really have like a 1% different experience than a lot of other people do, right? Playing just college sports alone. And that really created this light inside my head that said, oh, I guess that's pretty cool. So like maybe my legacy doesn't have to be based on the wins and the titles and the trophies. It can be the impact that you're making. And that's really when I made the realization that I should take the learnings that I've had through sport and apply it into my everyday. And so that's kind of where the birth of OMG Basketball came from, because it's really rooted in a mentorship. We're teaching girls how to watch women lead. And so we're an all-female staff of female coaches with the all-girls basketball program. And so my thing is, some of these girls may not even go play high school basketball. Some of them may go on to play high school basketball and may go on to play college basketball, may go on to play pro, right? But the fact is that legacy that I'm trying to build is mentorship, is the ability to show somebody and lead them the way for opportunities that I may not have had or was fought hard to create. And I think that's really why it's the why, the driving factor of that legacy, because it's more than just what cool trophy I can save.
What you got, right?
Yeah, that's going to probably collect dust.
Right. Well, yeah, and the ripple effect, the impact, so much broader, right?
So much broader.
That's amazing. And in what way do you feel you are impactful when you think about this young group of women, and you think about them in whatever paths their life might take? Like you said, maybe some will go into pro, maybe some won't. But is there, something that you want them to take away from the experience, regardless of how their ultimate experience at OMG goes from an athletic perspective?
I think it goes back to my 3 L's: listen, learn, and lead. Right?
Bringing it all
together, bring it full circle.
I love it.
But I think that's the biggest thing that we try to make sure that they walk away with, because it goes back to, the shock that I had of listening to my introduction, because I don't get to hear that all the time. It's a little stunning, right? But you think about, like, the fact is that all my sports have taught me different life lessons. And no matter what these girls do in terms of basketball in the future, there's going to be principles that you've learned from the sport. And if we somehow figure out how to connect that one experience to a listening experience or a leading experience or a learning experience, like, it's perfect, because then they can apply it. And then we feel like we've done their job for them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's great. The
Thank
3
you.
L's, I love it. You get 2 sets of 3 L's. I love it. What advice would you give to someone who is, I don't know, maybe they're an athlete? I mean, we've got an audience here of biohackers, of executives, of people that are aspiring executives, people that are really into health and wellness. What advice would you give for anybody who's either been an athlete, working as an executive, or just in general? I mean, do you have any
oh my gosh,
wisdom and advice?
Life is an experiment. Like, if you're not experimenting, you're not gonna learn, right? I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned over time, is that you got to experiment levels and you got to test those limits, because that's how you constantly keep making yourself a little bit better.
Yeah. I love that. Life is a series of experiments. I'm going to have to do a series of E's.
Yeah, a series
Experiment,
of E's.
E, something, right? Okay, so tougher question. What is success to you, and are you a success?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. If I put myself in a quiet room and I ask myself that, I'd probably say not yet, because I'm constantly kind of chasing how to be better. But I think, I love being curious. Like, I think that's one of my strengths, is that I'm naturally just curious in conversation. I'm curious about things I run into. And so I think my success line is always kind of moving. But I think I do pay homage and respect to the things that I've accomplished. I've gotten a lot better at doing that now that I'm older. I think when I was in my 20s, it was a race to figure out how to get, the biggest title or the coolest job and the, most wins or, the most deals closed. And I think I would just miss celebrating those big milestones, like the small wins. So I think I've started to do that a lot better. I've forced myself. I honestly have to force myself to do that. Like it takes a lot of mental recognition for me.
Yeah.
Because I just constantly am feeling, because, good or bad, like my athletic background, you have to be successful to get where I was. So it's hard to just turn off. I think my husband realizes that. We've been married for 7 years. It's like sometimes you can't just turn it off. But I think I'm doing a better job of it, but I still think I have a lot more to accomplish.
Well, what I heard you say is that success it's a moving target.
It is.
And that you can feel successful, but your answer, not yet on some things. Like there's some things you could be like, I got this.
Yeah.
I am at the gym. I am successful in the gym. I got this. Whereas other things are not yet, right?
Yeah.
So I think success can be a moving target, right? And like I said, you got a lot of hill to climb yet. So what did I not ask you that I should have asked you? What else would you like to impart or maybe share?
I mean, I loved our conversation. It's been great. I think, the biggest thing is like, how to keep balance in life. I mean, that's like the ultimate end game, right? Like keeping balance in life is so hard sometimes because there's so much noise. But if you're working in a corporate environment, you kind of see the same thing, like noise after noise after noise. And I think my secret to kind of managing the noise is keeping stuff simple so that you are making sure that your priorities are simple. Like I talk to my teams about, because we're in sales, it's two things: build pipeline and close deals. And some people look at me like, are you kidding me? And some people look at me and go, yeah, that's totally what we got to do.
Yeah.
And with basketball, with the teams, I'm like, to the coaches, I'm like, it's not win as many basketball games as you can. It's teach them how to play together, right? Because that's going to build winning. And teach them how to make baskets, because baskets equal points. So it's like teaching them that the balance of all the other noise and stuff, you just got to keep it simple.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. And if people wanted to find you, follow you, anything you're up to, how can they do that?
Well, I mean, I have a social handle for Instagram and Facebook.
Please. Yeah.
It's OMG Basketball Academy.
Awesome.
And then I keep up with people there. We're releasing a new website in a couple of weeks, so I'm super excited about that. We're going to try and make it a more omni-channel experience. So it'll be fun. So wish me luck.
Very cool. Absolutely. Well, this way people can enroll their little ones maybe in your program, right? So,
yeah.
Well, just delightful. And your experience it's inspiring. It's incredible. And what you've done both on the court and in a corporate setting, it's such an amazing story. And I appreciate your time so much. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much,
for being
Nicole.
here.
I really
Absolutely.
appreciate the opportunity. It's been great. Thank you.